Welcome to the Bulldog Broadcast, brought to you on the Field of 68 Media Network. I'm your host, Dan Dickow, to talk all things Gonzaga basketball. We've been catching up with a lot of former players over the last few episodes. Today's, I'm really looking forward to hearing these guys share their memories, share their experiences, both individually but also together, because I think that's one of the things that makes Gonzaga so special is you can take a guy from Poland and a guy from a tiny town in the state of Washington, and they become best of friends during their time at Gonzaga. With that intro, I'm sure everybody knows it's Przemek Karnowski and Rem Bakamus. Fellas, great to have you on. We'll start with you, Shem, because I know the time difference is a little much over there. How's life?
Oh, it's good. You know, I'm rehabbing right now, trying to come back to playing and stuff. So that's my goal probably for the next 2 to 3 months, and just trying to get back to playing basketball again. You know, after some episodes with my health.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best getting healthy, and we know you will grind it out and you will get yourself back right as quickly as possible. Rem, you've been a guest alongside your father, a tremendous coach in the state of Washington, on my ISO podcast. How is life as you continue on the coaching ranks down in Waco with Baylor, the number 2 ranked, not number 1, but the number 2 ranked team in the country?
Yeah, life is good considering all the stuff going on with COVID. We just recently went on pause with our program, so just kind of waiting out these tests and scenarios and try to make sure everybody's healthy this week. So, yeah, weird times with COVID, but still enjoying it every day.
You know, the beautiful thing about technology is the fact that, you know, we can have this conversation face-to-face and record it and have you guys share some of your experiences, memories with Gonzaga fans. I'm sure you guys have stayed in touch over the last few years because you guys became such good friends. What's a typical connection between you guys now? Is it over Zoom? Is it over direct message on Instagram or Twitter? Or how does that work for you guys?
I would say probably through like Instagram. And we are also in a few groups together, so we stay in touch through that as well.
Yeah, Snapchat groups, Instagram, DMs, whatever. I mean, we see something that reminds us of each other and we send it right to each other. So, but it's a pleasure to get to see Big Shem on Zoom today.
As always.
So, Rem, you're obviously moving up the coaching ranks with Baylor. You look at the landscape of college basketball from a different lens as you did a few years ago while you're at GU. You're scouting players, you're evaluating, you're putting together scouting reports. Have you seen another big man in the last couple of years have the IQ and the touch and the ability to impact a game like Przemek?
No, absolutely. Maybe Jokic, but I'm still putting Shem up against him. Yeah, I always like to tell the story about when Przemek came home with me for Easter break, and we played some pickup basketball with the local LCC guys and some of my dad's players at the time, and we had Przemek running the break. He played point guard the whole time, nifty passes behind the back, no looks, shooting threes in transition. And guys are like, this is the best 7'1" guy I've ever seen in my life. Like, he brought out the whole bag of tricks that day. So, you know, he was a special talent, and his feel is one of the best I've ever seen in college basketball. That's for sure.
Shem, I feel bad for you. You went to Longview, Washington over Easter break. You could have gone somewhere else. I mean, Josh Perkins is Denver. You've got, I think, Jeremy Jones is from Texas. You had lots of options, and you chose Longview?
I had a great time, you know. Shout out to Billy and Kati Bakamus for the invite. You know, it was a great Easter. They hosted me really well, and, you know, it was we got to play some hoops, got to spend time together, and it was obviously my freshman year, so, you know, I was still adapting to the U.S.
Well, you might not know this, but Rem's dad, as you probably do know, is a legendary high school coach in the state of Washington. They played in the same league as my high school. We beat them on the buzzer my senior year. Bill Bakamus has dodged my high school now for going on, about 20 years around?
Yeah, he refuses to play him at their place. He said they cheated him.
I think he might have told me that story.
I'm sure he has. He's every time I connect with him, either in person or on a text message, he brings that one up. That's for sure. Shem, you kind of followed the lineage of a lot of really good European players coming over to Spokane. Tommy Lloyd has done a tremendous job of building trust with young European players and their families that they're going to be taken care of academically, basketball-wise, as well as socially in Spokane. Was he, when he began recruiting you, what was your initial thought about Tommy Lloyd?
I think Tommy was one of the first people that got in contact with me and my parents, recruiting wise. So I think Tommy's been to Poland, I don't know, probably 5, 6, maybe 7 times to just talk to me and stuff like that. So it really meant a lot from the beginning of the process. And then, more I got to know about Gonzaga. I knew they had a good tradition with European players and especially European bigs with Ronnie, with Mario, with maybe Rob from Canada, So I knew that they know how to help the transition for me with English and with the whole new basketball stuff, So I thought he did a great job, and we still stay in touch and talk.
And how about Coach Few? Because from my understanding, that was the first recruiting trip to Europe that Coach Few ever made. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have heard about that, and I remember they came to one of my games, and actually in that game I went for like 17 for 18 from the field, scored like 35 points, and I was like, yeah, man, hey, that's the best I have, And Tommy's like, yeah, but the last time I came, you had like 5 points and 5 rebounds, so don't go too high on you. Yeah, they came to my game. Then they drove up to my home city and talked with me and my parents for 2-3 hours, and then offered for me to come visit to Spokane. And Kevin Pangos was my host, and I had a great time.
Performing in the clutch, that's something that you became accustomed to in your time in Spokane, and you did that there to sell Coach Few on bringing you to Spokane. Now, Rem, you were a different story in how you got to Spokane, and I don't think a lot of people understand and realize, somebody like yourself who didn't play a ton of minutes at Gonzaga or at the high D1 level still is a tremendous player. You had opportunities to play at lower levels and probably honestly be a starter, maybe a star at those levels, but you chose Gonzaga. Why was that?
Yeah, taking that path was kind of a no-brainer to me after I talked with Tommy, who happened to be a family friend and a close connection due to his ties with Kelso and playing against my dad in high school. So when Tommy presented that opportunity for me, it seemed like it outweighed playing at a lower level because of the relationships like you two that I have now. Playing with a ton of former NBA players and Euro stars, it just made more sense to me to put the experience and the relationships in front of my own personal, playing. So it worked out for me great. I don't knock anybody who goes and plays at a lower level, but going to Gonzaga and meeting the people I met and doing the things I did have really shaped me to who I am today.
You guys were a part of some tremendous teams, and you had different roles on those teams. Rem, is there a particular team for you that stood out, whether it was that Final Four team or maybe one of the other Kevin Pangos-led backcourts?
Yeah, it's always hard to pick teams just because being there 5 years, we saw so many great players and teammates. But I always talk about the Final Four team, obviously, but I don't think the Elite Eight team gets enough credit because, the Zags hadn't been to a second weekend of Sweet 16 in like 5 or 4 years or something like that. They kind of had been a little drought to say. And beating that Iowa team and getting to a Sweet 16 and then eventually beating UCLA and then matching up with Duke in Houston was a big, big deal for our program at the time. And, we were one win away from that being the first Final Four team. So that's one of my favorite teams that I ever played with. And then obviously you can't count out the Final Four team. It's just A lot of factors, and we know luck comes into play in the NCAA tournament, but those are two of my most memorable teams.
Well, I've said it before on this podcast. Luck does come in, and there are other factors, in particular Kennedy Meek's hand on that baseline.
Yeah.
That's one for sure that I won't let you remember, or I won't let you forget. Sorry. Shem, how about you? Is there any one particular team that stands out for you?
I mean, for me, like Rem said, there has been so many great guys that I came across during my time at GU, but for sure, that Final Four team when we went on I don't remember, maybe 29-0 to start of the season, and it was just crazy, to be part of that and, travel every day, basically win every game until the last game of the regular season, So we just had a lot of fun playing together.
I remember that game against BYU at home where you guys lost. And, Rem, yeah. I may have told you this before because you got the start that night on senior night.
Yeah.
I need to – when I get Nigel on this podcast, I'm going to ask him this question because Rem was open 2 times in a row on that far right wing deep in the corner. And he could have started the game off with back-to-back threes, and the kennel would have gone nuts, and it would have been a memory for everybody. So I will hold that against Nigel for not, giving you the rock in the corner and let it fly to start the game.
Rightfully so, yeah. Who knows if I don't think Coach Few would have taken me out if I had hit a 3, but luckily we got off to that start. The kennel was rocking regardless, but I was gassed. I'll be honest. I played like a minute 30, and I was like, this is what the real games feel like meaningful minutes.
That's great. Yeah, those meaningful minutes, there's definitely a little different excitement and a buzz and the energy and the crowd and the adrenaline's pumping a little differently. Przemek, you're somebody who has gone back to Europe and you've started to put together a very nice career, but you've also had some injury kind of issues here and there. What are you doing right now, and what is the outlook or looking like for you with this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm trying to come back and play, and for me, probably around 3 months, I will keep rehabbing right now, and in 2.5 months, probably I will see what my situation is, and then if I'm healthy and I'm able to come back before the season ends, I will try to do that, but the season is a little bit shorter here in Europe as well, so I will not try to rush things and just come back 100%. That's my main focus right now.
With the time difference over there in Poland, have you had a chance to watch this year's team, Przemek? And if so, what do you think?
Yeah, I watched one of the games. So yeah, I mean, I like Drew Team a lot. He's reminding me a lot of KO in my freshman year. He's moving really well for a big man. Obviously there's so many weapons right now. Corey's a great leader. As a senior. Jalen, great freshman, to come and play the first 3 games like that and to be one of the main guys on the team. Joel is finding his place in the team as well. So, I like that Coach Yu has a lot of guys that he can choose from.
That's awesome that you're still following the team as best you can. Now, Rem, I'm going to ask you the same question, but it's going to be a little bit different, and I'm sure your answer is going to come with some coach speak because you're on the Baylor coaching staff now. You guys unfortunately had that game canceled a week or so ago due to the COVID guidelines and everything that's happening in the world right now. How were you helping Scott Drew and the coaching staff prepare to beat Gonzaga? And be honest, was there an inkling of you that was pulling for Gonzaga and you weren't going to give them the full scouting report?
No, definitely not. I mean, I don't think Tommy and Coach Few and those guys would appreciate me not giving my best effort to try to knock them off. But obviously they have a special team, like very little weaknesses. So I helped in any way I could, whether it was a play call that I might have remembered or, just trying to figure out guys' tendencies and things like that. But obviously a really tough team to scout for, not a lot of holes, in that rotation. So it was going to be a great college basketball game. I think if there's a chance we can get it rescheduled, the fans deserve it, the players deserve it, the schools deserve it. So hopefully that works out. But I was really looking forward to playing them, and I know how good they are and how good we are. So it was going to be a really fun game.
I'm right there with you, hoping that they can get the game rescheduled. And I know Coach Few is as big a competitor as there is, and I've also heard the same about Scott Drew. And if there's an opening in the schedule for both teams, I know they're going to get it done, and there will be a lot of excitement about that. Got a couple quick hitting questions for you guys before I let you guys both go. Przemek, I'll start with you. Gonzaga point guard that you wish you could play pick and roll with?
I would say Josh Perkins.
Stayed with your with your teammate. I like it. You're staying loyal. Rem,
Yep.
highest IQ Gonzaga player that you've been around?
That's Shem. Like, I would say it even if he wasn't on here. That's Shemek. He was like our quarterback on offense, telling guys to cut. He knew when double teams were coming without even actually seeing it. Defensively, he had guys rotating, and he was on another level. That's why when he's done hooping, if I'm ever in a position to hire Shemek or be on a staff with Shemek in coaching, I want to be together.
Hey, that's some high praise.
We'll make it work.
Gotta make that work.
Back to you, Shemek. Any Gonzaga player for an open three to win the game, and you play with some tremendous shooters. You've seen some tremendous shooters. Who would it be?
Manny Wilch. I would say Kai Wilcher.
Wow, that's somebody that I would agree with. I mean, I think as a stretch four, you put him in a pick and roll with you and duck-in situations on the weak side. It was almost kind of –
It's automatic.
Yeah, it's a pick-your-poison kind of deal. You guys put a lot of opposing defenses in bad spots, that's for sure.
Yep.
Rem, your time as a player at Gonzaga, you probably were thinking along the coaching path, wanting to get into coaching. Was there ever any game plan adjustments that Coach Few made that you disagreed with?
I don't think so. Maybe starting me against BYU, since that's the only game we lost that year. But other than that, no. Those guys are rock solid and always equipped going into the games. Like, their scouting reports are on another level.
Yeah, Coach Few and the staff's preparation has always been as good as any program that I've seen. And I see a lot of programs now with my college basketball broadcasting season, but they're at the top of the list. This is the last question.
I can totally agree with that, compared with Europe. And now that I've seen a lot of coaches, I can totally agree with that, with the preparation and rotation in defense and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Last question. This is for both of you guys. You guys kind of became very good friends, and it was known around Spokane that you guys were close. You guys had a Christmas Carol, was it, I believe, or a Christmas
story?
A special on one of the TV shows? For anybody that's listening to this on the national level, can you guys both break that down for me?
Go ahead, Shem.
I mean, I would say it was kind of spontaneous. We were supposed to read some story, and I was just like, let's make it kind of fun. And then we found some sweaters. Like, if you look closely on the picture, my sweater is so small, it's like the sleeve is halfway up my arm, so it was kind of funny. Then I started reading it really, really loud, and I wanted to be clear. And, Rem was just doing his thing, and I thought it came out pretty funny, and, I thought people loved it.
Yeah, I mean, when you put us two in a room together, it's usually pretty entertaining, and we feed off each other pretty well. So it was just one of those things where the studio came up with the idea, but Shemek and I took it to a whole new level with the sweaters and all that. So it ended up being a hit, and every time around Christmas, I get tagged in that photo. I know
Me too.
Well, I'll have to keep an eye out for that with Christmas right around the corner, and you guys getting tagged on social media with that. So, Rem, Shemek, great to reconnect with both of you guys. I wish Baylor nothing but the best of luck, except when they play Gonzaga this year. Shemek, get healthy, and I look forward to you continuing your career. So thank you, guys.
I appreciate that. Take care, guys.